Hey there, Board Game Maniacs, and thank you for joining me in for another episode of Painting with the Maniac. In this episode, we are going to be painting another miniature from the Star Wars Legion box set. The newer one that came out, the one that has the clone troopers, Obi-Wan, Kenobi, General Grievous, and the droids. So just be aware that's what we're doing. This is directly from the core box set. I already assembled it and I already based it out too as well, and I did all my sand on the basing. But you can probably tell right now what we're painting, and plus the title of the video, that we are going to be painting Droideka. That's right. You get 4 of these into the box set. The 4 that you get is 2 standing ones and 2 of them that are curled up when they're rolling. I never played the game yet to incorporate these, but I'm hopefully going to be doing it very soon, and hopefully it's going to be on this channel with this theme month of Star Wars Legion. We'll find out, but in either case, that's what we're painting, so just hang on and I'll show you one that I did off camera so you can get an idea of what it's going to look like in the end. Here you can see the 2 examples that I got done. We'll only be painting the stand-up one because I've already painted the 2 rolling ones, but it's the same painting scheme, nothing different about it. You can see though that one has the range of the blaster, and orange one is blue. And the reason why, because I have one already painted up in the rolling with the blue, and I only have one with the orange. So when we're painting, we're going to be basing it out into this orange color to match this one. But let's take a closer look now. So you can see here, this painting was pretty straightforward. There's no special techniques or anything into it. It's just some dry brushing and some base coating. It was a very simple paint job. And you'll see once we go over it, like with the lead belcher, and then I mix it 2 different paints together to get that color, and then dry brushing on top. Pretty simple. And you can see here, this is one that's been rolled up. Same color scheme, exactly the same, nothing different about it. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. But that's what we're going to be painting. So let's start painting this Droideka from Star Wars Legion by Fantasy Flight Games. You can see here I have it primed already, and again, like I said, the sand is on there. And I got it primed in Xandri dust. I think that's what I used, but it don't really matter the name of it, because the reason why I primed in Xandri dust again is because this is the primer. I ran out of my white primer finally, so I had to use another primer, and the primer that I had kicking around in my painting booth was Xandri dust, so I just primed it in Xandri dust. Not that you have to prime it in Xandri dust. You can prime it in pretty much any color you want, and that's just the way it is. So let's just start off with this painting. The first color we're going to do, and we're going to paint all of the metal, as in like the inside skeleton part, and we're going to be painting it with Lead Belcher by Citadel. It's the base. Now with the Lead Belcher, what we're doing is we are going to be very simple. We just put some into our wet palette, watered it down a little bit, and we're going to paint. So where we paint that again is all of the underneath skeleton, and right here too as well, which is the neck. Pretty simple. Just like that, and we're just going to continue on painting. Because we painted Lead Belcher just on the top part, I guess you could call this his neck. He's a droid. We are going to be painting again all underneath here too as well. His guns, his legs. We're not painting this silver. This is going to be the base of the red. So just so everybody is aware of that. So let's just start doing some painting here, shall we? Oh, and his tongue? I really don't know what you want to call that, but it's his blaster, possibly. Or sensor, communicator, I don't know. It's something. So we're just going to be painting that too as well, the underneath of part of his head. So you can see there, it's kind of a hard angle to see on camera, but I'm pretty much just making sure I got all of the Lead Belcher done for his underskeleton. Now, if I get it on the inside of where the Lead Belcher should be or shouldn't be, that's fine, because I'm going to be painting it over with the other color. So it's not a big deal. I'm just going to paint all of this lead belcher just like that. So what I'm going to do, just so, you know, it's don't bore people from, actually, I know it's not boring if you have me on and you're just put me on as a background noise to hear me ramble, or maybe you're learning something. But just again, just a word of caution, I am not a professional miniature painter by no means whatsoever. So you can take this as it is, or you can just not take it at all. It's totally up to you. I am learning how to paint miniatures as I go along, just like many other people. So that's just what we're doing. I was going to stop the video, but I might as well just ramble on a little bit here. You can see this part and here, that is the exterior part of his armor, I guess, or his shell. So you don't want to paint that with lead belcher. If you do make a mistake and paint it, it's not the end of the world, because you can just go over it with a different paint. The key thing here is with this lead belcher is it is in my wet palette. It is watered down a bit, just so it gets in all the little nooks and crannies. Sometimes I don't water down any of my paint. I just take it as it is right out of the pot. And, you know, that's fine. You can certainly do that, but sometimes it calls for that you need a little thin, or so it flows into crevices not a little easier. So just be aware of that. That's what my understanding is of why you water down your paints, just so it flows better. If I'm wrong, please somebody comment down below and correct me and say, like, well, the reason why you do this is because of this reason, and just go from there. Now what I'm going to do, you can see on camera in here, this is actually like a little inlet. When I say inlet, it's part of his endoskeleton that's out underneath his armor. So, but not this part. Don't get that confused, because you want to keep that red, or not red, you want to keep that the different color. I'm giving away my color scheme, but I already did because I showed you. And this color scheme is, you know, like I looked at pictures and online and just to research the Droideka, and that's what I found. So, you know, the colors may not be exact, but they're good for me, and I like the colors that I chose. You could do that, or you could go more, you know, bang on accurate, or you can paint it the way you want. What I'm understanding, because I talk to a lot of war gamers that play like 40K and everything else, and I say, like, well, what's a good color to paint this army, and what's a good color to paint this hero figure and that, and they tell me, you know, this is the color that it is, but paint it whatever way you want, because it's yours and you design it, and, you know, you can paint it any way. Just do it the way you feel. So that's what I'm doing, is I am painting this in the way that I want to paint it, but I'm trying to keep it close to resemble the paint job onto what they're supposed to be painted, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm just painting along, making sure I get all of the legs or arms. I don't know if it's their arms or their legs. See, these are arms and they are legs that they walk on, but again, you never know with these, because they're droids. They can just say, like, hey, I'm going to do this with my appendages. Well, droids don't say that, but maybe they will. I don't know. But in either case, I'm just rambling here and painting off camera. I'm always doing that. I'm always going off camera, and I get involved into the painting, and I forget that I'm recording. But you're probably saying to yourself, but how can you forget that you're recording? Because you're talking while you're doing it. But even if I'm not recording, I do tend to talk to myself a lot. Yeah, I know it's a little strange, but hey, that's just the way it is. Because I am strange. Ooh, yeah, I am. So anyhow, just continuing on painting everything. Funny story is when I painted the one off camera, went through all the paint, did the wash, did everything onto it. I was like, yeah, this is really cool. And I was ready to just finish it off and seal it. And I looked and I'm like, wait, there's something that's off about this. And I couldn't really figure out what it was that was off. And then I finally realized that I kind of forgot to paint one of the legs. Or actually it was this one here. I forgot to paint it. So I had to go back in and do the paint and the wash and everything onto it because I totally forgot about it. I just missed it, and I don't know why I missed it. I just missed it because I missed it. Maybe because I wasn't paying attention or I was going through the motions. I don't know. It was something anyhow. But you can see here, this is all the lead belcher, all the underneath part. So we're going to leave this dry, and then we're going to go on to the next color, and I'll be back. Now that all of the lead belcher is done onto him, the next color that we're doing is we're going to paint the outer shell. So this is his armor that he has. So we're painting it, his head, part of his body, his shoulders, his back, and the underneath too as well. And we're going to mix two different colors here to get the proper, well, I'm mixing two different colors to get a different tone. And what I'm mixing together is 3 parts of corn and 1 part of Mornfang brown. So when I mix this together, I still get a red, but it's more of like a burgundy color, I guess you kind of say. It's still got the red, but it got hints of brown into it. And it's in my mixing palette, and my wet palette, I should say, with some water to water it down. So again, we are just going to apply it. Just like so. Now, if we had like some nice contrast paint or metallic paint, then of this color, that's what I would do, but I don't have it. So instead of going out and buying the paint, other paint that I wanted to do, I just kind of improvised and mixed up my own, which a lot of painters end up doing. It's not a big deal. It's not hard to do. And I'm just getting the underneath part. So again, yeah, all we're doing is just painting away at all of the armor, the exterior armor, because the lead belcher that's like the skeletal structure of it, but it's still, regardless of the skeletal structure or not, it's still armor because it's metal, right? So it's going to have a little bit of protection onto him. These were talking about not the animated series or anything else, but just the movies itself. Like these were first introduced into I think it was part 4, if I'm not mistaken, and where Obi-Wan Kenobi, when he was a Padawan or still learning, and Qui-Gon Jinn, who was his master, they encountered these onto the spaceship when they were trying to, get the treaty signed, the trade treaty signed, or they were doing illegal trading the Empire, or not the Empire at the time, but anyhow, they were doing that, and they call these to stop the Jedis, and they had the force field on them, and pew 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 shooting and all this. It was really cool. They're no match. The Jedi are no match for the Droidekas. So yeah, that's where these were first introduced at. Really cool. I guess you probably paint these any way you want. One way that I would, if I'm going to paint another one up, give it a little bit of a different character. I'd paint it more of like a dark color, like a black or a dark gray. And the reason why, because these are pretty scary to start with, and then if you have them stealthy and that, like, you are going to run the other way when you see these guys coming, because they're pretty damn scary. I think so, anyhow. So again, just painting the armor here, and the little parts on the neck, or the head, I should say. Just make sure we got all of our bases covered here. So See, like right here too, because I missed that one too. I had to go in and do that when I was painting the other one. So yeah, just keeping painting away here. I'm excited to play this game. Like I said, I had it for a while when it first came out, and I think it was Adepticon that I went to a couple of years ago when this was actually being released. And one of the primary reasons for going to Adepticon was so that I could talk to Alex Davies, who is the creator of Star Wars Legion. And I didn't think I was going to be able to talk to him, depending on, because it was a release, like they were freshly just releasing this, and they had boards all set up, like the gaming tables, that looked incredible. And I'm sure he would be too busy to be an interview, but lo and behold, I went there and I was able to interview him and talk to him about this. Really nice guy. Had a lot of fun interviewing him. It was only a short little interview, but I still was able to interview him. And that video is on the channel, so if you go back and take a search for the Adepticon, you'll see the video where I interviewed him, because it was great. Like, nice guy. Tried to pry little secrets from him, but you know, he was onto my ploy, and he didn't give way to the secrets. As much as I wanted him to, he wouldn't tell me what was being released and so on, which is fine. You know, you got to keep your stuff secret, of course, so no one else can try to come out with it before you. Really super nice guy. Really, really intelligent creating this game. I'm just kind of shocked that, because it took a bit for this game to build up a lot of steam. I don't know if it was because of when it was released or how it was released, but since then, where they come out with the new box set, like, I noticed that Star Wars Legion is starting to catch on more, well, around here in Ontario, Canada, with wildfire. It's going crazy now. It's so many people are wanting to play Star Wars Legion, and I had this sitting for a long time, and I wanted to play it. And it just, again, it took me a long time before I finally said, you know what, I want to get this stuff ready to play. I had so many other things on my plate, and unfortunately this was kind of on the back burner. But hey, it's still there. We are doing it, we are playing it, we are battling with this, and that's the main thing, is we're still getting it on the table. Now, along with that, just to let you know that I am going to be painting with my detail brush these here parts, which are kind of like, I don't know what you call them. They could be just more metal piping, but I'm treating them as like a wire, or hose, not wire, but hoses, to feed the hydraulics, or, you know, whatever it's needed for the blasters, or to move it, or what have you. So I'm just painting them too as well, just to give it a little bit more difference, that's all. You can see there that I'm painting it. I may not be directly on camera for it, but it just, I have to move this around a bit just to get the proper angles, so that I can paint it properly. And I actually, there we go. Oh, I missed a little spot right there. Whew. Yeah, it's all good there. Just like so. And get the other one done too as well. A lot of detail in this miniature, I have to say. It looks incredible. And as a big Star Wars fan, like, I don't think I'm an encyclopedia of Star Wars, but I know enough Star Wars to keep me happy. And I'm always learning new things, and it's crazy. It's like, whoa, this is awesome. Because the world, this universe is huge. Like the Star Wars universe is huge with so much stuff with it. It's just absolutely crazy. Like in Lucasfilms, what they created, this is prior, before Disney has purchased it. But still, like, and Disney's just continuing on with it. And the reason why I'm saying this is because they're still being released Star Wars movies. And then you have The Mandalorian that's on the Disney Plus channel, which I've been watching, and it is awesome. I really thoroughly enjoy The Mandalorian. Let me know. Comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are on The Mandalorian. I'd be curious to see what other people are thinking about it. I think it's a great show. But hey, that's just me. So you can see here, this is all painted red. Get that all done. Or maroon color, whatever we want to call it. But I did miss a spot right here, I noticed. Just right in here. So you got to get that. And the other side, nope, got that. Got it. Good. All right. So that's pretty much it for that color, where I did do the mixture of it. Again, it is corn red mixed with Mornfang brown. My words are not coming to me. Anyhow, so I mix it like a 3-to-1. You can do it whatever color you want, but this is just the color that I've chosen to paint it. Now, since that is all done, we're going to put a wash on this thing, but before we put the wash on, we're going to just base out the base too as well. So we'll be back to do the base part, and we'll just continue on from there. For the base color, we are going to be painting it with Steel Legion Drab, and again, it's in a wet palette, watered down just slightly. You can see there's Steel Legion Drab Citadel base. And the reason why I'm painting this Steel Legion Drab is so that it will match up to all the other bases for the miniatures that I painted already. Now, you can paint it Geonosis color, which is kind of like the brownish red kind of thing. Or, you know, like, I see a lot of people designing it for Geonosis. Because it makes sense, because that is where, like, Obi-Wan had, you know, went and they battled everything and with General Grievous and what have you. But like I said, I'm kind of painting it so it kind of goes with almost any board that I play on, but more so because I want my battles for the most part to be taken on Endor, and that's again my own personal choice. But you can see here I'm just quickly going over the base. Clean my brush off there. Just like so, just trying to avoid getting it on any of the metal, because you probably wouldn't. You might have some dirt onto it, but same with his rolling around when he's in the rolling form, which is really cool. Like, I thought for a minute when I first opened up and I had this many of these droids, I was like, did they make a mistake and give me some extra droids? Like, bonus! But when I looked into it, no, because there's two states of them. There's when they're upright like this and battling, and then when they're in the rolling position and they're rolling around. So, yeah, that's what I thought, but that's okay. No big deal, because it's pretty cool. You can buy, like, expansion box sets of just these Droidekas too as well, so just be aware of that. You do get, in the core box, you do get 2 of them standing upright and 2 of them in the rolling position. And that's about it. So I got my base done of this, pretty simple. We're going to let this dry, and I'm not going to do any highlighting. I didn't put any big gravel on this one, as opposed to, like, just move this out of the way. You can see I got rocks on this one, but I didn't do it on the other one, just so that there's a variation, a little bit of difference. Nothing wrong with that. So once this is dry, we'll be back and we'll be putting the wash onto it. Now that the Steel Legion Drab is all dry, we're going to start doing the wash. And what we're going to do is a combination of 2 different washes. On the miniature itself, The lead belcher part we're going to be washing with null oil. And for the armor part and the base, we are going to be washing it with Agrax Earthshade. Now, with this Agrax Earthshade and null oil, it's going to be directly right out of the pot. I'm not watering it down. I want to make it as dirty as possible and grimy. So let's just start with the null oil first. And again, all I'm getting in is all the lead belcher, as you can see there. So just brushing it away, or brushing it on, I should say. So I would like people who have played Star Wars Legions already, just to comment and down below and let me know what your thoughts are of the game. Like, what would you say is really good for it, and what would you say is, like, you know, it could be improved or whatever. I've never played it yet. I've been watching videos and trying to learn online, but again, I'm going to play it regardless, but I would like everybody's opinion onto it. And if there's any little things, like any tips that you can give me to when I'm going to play it, that will help me out, I would love to get them and receive them. Again, just comment below, or you can email us at boardgamemaniacs@gmail.com with the email address. And you can just contact us that way. Pretty easy. So again, there's no special task here that I'm doing, or no special way that I'm painting with the lead belcher. It's just on and making sure I got all of the lead belcher covered with the null oil. And I'm drooping it on. Now, the other miniature that I did, I kind of watered down the lead belcher, not the lead belcher, the null oil, so it's not as dirty. Not even on camera, jeez. But for this one, again, I want a little bit of variation as opposed to the other one. So this here is going to be more battle hardened, really dirty from getting into the grime and battling out all of the clone troopers. So that's the lead belcher, not the lead belcher. The known oil is all applied. So I'm just going to clean this off. And now we are going to Agrax Earthshade on both the external armor and the base itself. Let's give this a shake. And here we go. So we'll start off with the top part here. And another thing that I'm doing differently as opposed to the one that I painted off camera is I've never put any shade or wash onto the red armor whatsoever. It was just kept like it was and then highlighted. But again, I want this one to be a little bit more different. Like he's been around and he's more dirty because he's been in the battle longer. Maybe the other one is just like a fresh one that came off of the ship that they sent. Who knows? But in either case, I'm just doing it for variation. So now I'm going on the base with the Agrax Earthshade, like so. Nothing special, pretty simple. So I'm just going to keep doing this, apply it, and when it's dry, we'll be back and we'll go on to the highlighting step. Now that all the washes are dry, we're going to start doing our highlighting. And the first thing we're going to highlight is we're going to highlight all of the lead belcher, and we're going to highlighting it with Rune Fang Steel. Just going to give this a quick little shake. And again, this is going to be dry brushing. Just a quick way of getting some highlights done. So I grab my brush for doing some dry brushing, I should say. Where's it? Oh, there, I got my brush. All right. So away we go. So again, just very little here. Just like so. Get a little bit more on my brush. Very easy to do. Again, I'm just bringing out the raised surfaces so it kind of stands out a little bit. A little bit more on my brush. Again, you can make it as bright as you want or as dull as you want. It's completely up to you. Okay, so since the lead belcher is, I'm happy with the lead belcher mixing with the roofing steel for the dry brushing. So I'm going to keep the roofing steel. I'm just going to brush over the red armor too as well, because you got to realize that these guys roll around, so they're going to get some dings and scratches onto them, and I want him to be a little bit more battle damaged than the other one. So again, just bringing it out there. Again with this part, you can see here. I want some scrapes to go on. Now, what I'm also going to do is going to take my detail brush, a little detail brush, and I'm still using the roofing steel, and I'm going to put some some marks onto him that he'd have from, you know, rolling around in the ball. Just little bits, you know, nothing too crazy. But sometimes going a little too crazy is good. I should know, because I'm a little too crazy. I'm just using my finger and I'm wiping it off. So again, a little bit of this too, because his exterior armor we'd have a little bit of dings onto it, obviously. And again, this part here, you can see, go on this side a bit. And again, just kind of painting little spots here and there onto it. Not going too crazy, but we could certainly do a lot more damage look to this guy. Kind of like just edging this part. There. Kind of like that. It's pretty cool. Cleaning off my brush. And now we're going to do some more dry brush highlighting on this, but we are going to be using Retribution armor. So give that a little bit of a shake. And dry brushing, got to get a lot of it off my brush. So instead of brushing it this way, I'm going to start with kind of doing it the opposite direction here. And then I'm going to go just on like the edging part. You can see there. Look at that. We'll do it on all of the red armor too as well. Just gotta be careful when you're dry brushing this head part, because the only part that's holding it together is this one little piece right here. So you have to be as gentle as possible so you don't crack it or rip it off. And again, just underneath here. As you can see, there's like hardly any product left onto it, but that's what I want. Because if we look at the one that I painted already, you can see it all there. Same with this. This is a little more brighter than that because again, I didn't use any Agrax Earthshade onto this to tone it down. I kind of want to keep that brightness, but this one I wanted it darker because he's been out battling the clone troopers and everything longer. He never got destroyed yet. So that's it for that. That's pretty easy for doing the dry brushing. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tackle the base itself. The next highlighting step that we're doing to the base is we're going to do the Talon sand, and we're just going to dry brush over all of the nice little granule stuff that you see there, just to bring that out. Just clean up the brush a bit. So yeah, just, you know, slightly dry brushing it just to bring out all that nice texture that was put on because of the sand. I didn't put any rubble on this one because the other one had lots of rubble, so just to keep a little bit of difference. Just a little bit though. Because that alone is making a big difference to the base by doing the dry brushing of the Talon sand. There we go. Concentrate a lot around the edging here. There. Pretty straightforward, easy peasy. Now, you could call him done if you want. I'm not calling him done because I want to do a couple of other steps. I picked this little added detail from Zorbazor, and it was really cool. And what he did is he used some typhus corrosion, and while the typhus corrosion was still wet, he kind of blended it with some Agrax Earthshade, and he only did this into the joints. And the reason why I did that was kind of like just to signify that, you know, the oil is coming around and it's going around the joints. It's going to get, and because of the environment that it would be in and everything. So I really like that. So again, I'm just using some typhus corrosion first. You can see right there. And we're just going to go on like the joints. Just like so. Pretty easy. You can see there. This kind of gives it a gritty texture to it as well. I like typhus corrosion. And why not give it a little bit more? There's a couple of spots here. There. So now, since this is still wet, again, it's very subtle, it's very little, but, you know, close up, people looking at it be like, hey, that looks really cool. Or, you know, on camera, it'll be really good. But while this is still wet, we're going to use a little bit of Agrax Earthshade. And with the Agrax Earthshade, we're going to just use a little bit of it, and we're just blending out the typhus corrosion a bit, just to help fade it in. You can see there. Fade it out, not fade it in, I should say. But you know what I meant. There we go. I think he's good. Okay. So that being done, the next step we're going to do is we're gonna paint like the parts from the trajectory of what he can see in front, both in the front and the back too as well. And we're going to use the Jakaro orange, and the reason why, because it's supposed to resemble this guy, and you can see it's Abaddon black and Jakaro orange. So this is kind of what this is. I know it's more damage on this than what it is there, but it's so that we can use them like that. It's pretty cool. I can add more of the like Agrax, Earthshade, and everything to match it up if I want to, but I'm not too worried about it because he could use this as a separate unit itself. But I'm going to paint the same design here, and it's very, very simple. Again, you can see, where do I move him out the way? The Jakiro orange for that, and also the Abaddon black for the edging. So when I finish painting that part, I'll be back and I'll show you what it is, and then there may be just one more final little detail that we're going to be doing onto it. On to the very last step. Now, before I do that, you can see I got the Abaddon black painted around, and then I got the Jericho orange. And this here is just so there's no question if they're in their firing arc. That was the word I was looking for before. It was a firing arc, either the rear or the front. I don't know how these operate yet. I have to look into the rules. But in either case, they're marked out. And the way that I was able to do this, so that when I covered it with the sand, and before the PVA was dry, I just kind of scraped along where these firing arc lines were. That's one way of doing it. Another way I did it on the other one is that I just kind of stayed clear of the firing arc lines. So either way, it works. So that's that part. Now there's only one more thing that we're going to do, and we're going to call him finished. I get the hiccup still. And we're going to use this Army Painter Battlefield XP Swamp Tuft. And we're just going to use our handy dandy tweezers, pick one up, and some Army Painter super glue. You can use any kind of super glue that you want, or PVA, but this is just what I have. And I'm going to stick it onto his base just in spots where I'm like, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So I'm going to stick one right here. Push it down, because the other one has rubble. This one's going to have the tufts of grass. So I got another one here, and we're going to do the same thing to it. And let's put this one like right on the other side. Push it down just so it's going to stay glued. And we're going to do it one more time. So some super glue on it, just like that. This is off camera, you can't see it, but you get the idea. And now let's put this one right beside it. So it's a little bit more of a build on it, like a mound of grass. Actually, I think I didn't put enough glue. There, let's try it now. There we go. Down it goes. And that's it. That's all she wrote. She's all done. You can add as much turf grass if you want, or other grass, or it's totally up to your discretion. But that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed this Painting with the Maniac episode, where we painted the Droideka from Star Wars Legion by Fantasy Flight Games. I was going to say Star Wars Imperial Assault there for a second, but hey, it's all right. You know, what I may do too as well, I'm not going to do it on camera, but I may put the turfs of grass onto this just to match that. But the thing is when he's rolling, this could be anywhere on the battlefield as opposed to this one, so it don't really matter. So I may just say, yeah, I'm not going to do it. But in either case, that is that. I hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun painting him. He was very simple to paint. You know, the detail of the miniature is outstanding. Fantasy Flight has got that down pat. Good job. Is there anything else I could say about this? Oh yeah, one more thing. And that is, be a maniac. Don't forget to subscribe. Click the subscribe button, the bell notification icon onto our YouTube channel to get notified such videos as this. Whew, I got it in. All right. So until next time, Board Game Maniacs, have some fun painting, have some fun just fun being a maniac, playing some board games or tabletop games, you name it. So until next time, I'll see you on the flip side. See ya! Boo!
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to keep up to date with Board Game Maniacs, click on the like and subscribe button to be notified when more videos come available. If you want to become an official sponsor of Board Game Maniacs, go to patreon.com/BoardGameManiacs. Or you can go to streamlabs.com/BoardGameManiacs1. That's right, and you can donate to help keep the lights on, keep food in our bellies, and play more games. We'll purchase more games, more equipment to make Board Game Maniacs evolve and get bigger and larger. Because of you, the viewers, I thank you from the bottom of my toes to the top of my head for all of your support. And until next time, Board Game Maniacs, be a maniac.